Welcome to day 3 of Solving Equations Practice Test. If you haven't been here, you don't know what's going on. We have clearly done some math, we've done some talking, and we've got a lot left to talk about. But day 3 is particularly these problems right here. We've done day 1, we've done day 2. If you missed these 2 days, it'd be a great idea for you to go back and watch them. And onwards to number 2, seems odd to say since we're on day 3, but here's the idea. We have -7 times p. I'm starting this one off. I guess I should back up. Let me back up. I had mentioned that I would start with very much explanation, and I would get less and less into the explanation as we go along. So on day 3, we're still doing some decent explanation. So what I was about to say is, hey, we are multiplying here. We are definitely not adding. We're not subtracting. We're not dividing. We are multiplying. So that's what I mean by that. And if you're like, well, okay, but I do see a minus sign right there. This is a -7. Okay, it's not like, hey, we're doing something and we're subtracting 7 also. It's that this -7 is joined up with this p in multiplication. So we ask the question, can we simplify that side? Can we simplify that side? And the answer is no, because we don't know what p is, and that's about the only thing happening. So we're going to divide by each side by -7, because that's the opposite of multiplication. Is division is the opposite. Leaves us with p equals 4. So we're going to see, is that the answer? How do we do that? We're going to take this answer and plug it back in for p. So it's -7 times 4. Does that equal -28? And I'm pretty sure we all know, yeah, -28 is -28. So yippee, hooray, we're done with number 2. Number 5, very, very similar, and that 3 is multiplying j. We cannot simplify that side. We cannot simplify that side. So we go on to solving. What's the opposite of 3 times j? That would be 3 divided by 3, and divide 3 there. That leaves us with j equals -12. So does j equal -12? The way we'll find out is we'll plug -12 right in there. So 3 times, sorry, not 3 times. Yeah, no, sorry, yeah, 3 times -12, does that equal -36? And I think the answer is quite obvious, yes. 3 times -12 is -36. So -36 equals -36. We are happy about our answer. J is -12. Number 8, n is dividing. N is being divided by, I should say, -7. There's nothing on this side that can be simplified, nor on that side. So let's erase them, and let's get to solving. We are going to multiply by -7. Why are we multiplying by -7? Because that's the opposite of dividing by 7. So those cancel, leaving us with that n, and it's -1 times -7, that's 7. So n equals 7. Okay, so we're going to confirm that by plugging it in right there. We have 7 divided by -7. Does that equal -1? That's the question. And the answer is, yeah, 7 divided by 7 is 1. And there's that negative. So does -1 equal -1? It sure does. We're happy about it. Number 11. Oh no, fractions. But listen, on the left side, we can't simplify that. On the right side, we can't simplify that. So we're ready to solve. And the question is, what's happening with this fraction? It's multiplying z. Fractions have this special relationship where we could divide by -1/2. In fact, I'm going to write divided by -1/2 right to the right here. You know what happens? Do you know what happens? If I'm just going to write 9. If we were to do 9 divided by -1/2, a lot of you know this thing called keep, change, flip. So we're going to keep the 9. We're going to change the divided by 2 times, and we're going to flip that fraction to be -2/1. This, my friends, is called the reciprocal. So we're not going to divide by -1/2 because we're going to do the easier, more professional-like thing and multiply by the reciprocal. And now we have done that. So the -2 and the -1/2 cancel, leaving us with z equals, and we get to multiply these straight across. 5 times -2 is -10. 12 times 1 is 12. And we can reduce that, and we get z equals, we can divide that by 2. So when I say reduce, simplify, reduce, same thing. We get -5/6. That is our answer. We hope we are correct. We're going to plug it in right here. So is -1/2 times -5/6, does that equal 5/12? Well, let's find out. If we multiply straight across, a negative times a negative is positive. 2 times 6 is 12. And if you're like, wait a second, isn't it negative? I did -1 times -5 and got +5. So that means this is a +2. They both can't be negative. If they're both negative, then we have a positive, right? Just like we got here. So anyway, does 5/12 equal 5/12? Yep, sure does. We got it. Number 14, 5p plus 2, does that equal -10? Sorry, not does it equal -10. 5p plus 2 equals -10. Hooray! Can we simplify the left side? Can we simplify the right side? No. And no. That means we're ready to solve. And because these are multiplying, we're not going to deal with those first. Because that's adding, we're going to deal with that first. We're going to subtract 2. In fact, why are we dealing with that first? You've forgotten how or why? Over here, when you simplify PEMDAS, you start over here and you think through the parentheses, the exponents, the multiplying, the dividing, the adding, the subtracting. But we're not simplifying. We asked, could it be simplified? And we said, no. So that means we are right here, ready to start solving. And you solve by doing the opposite. And you start, generally speaking, with adding and subtracting. And in fact, why does he keep saying generally speaking? We have seen scenarios where you would start with multiplying, but it was because they had some interesting looking groups. Okay, let's move on from that though. So we're going to subtract that 2. We did it and it's gone, and we get 5p equals -12. And you might be thinking, that's not going to divide. Well, we divide by 5. We divide by 5. Sorry, let me back up a little bit. What are we going to do? We're going to divide by 5 because 5 is multiplying p. Okay, so gone, giving us p equals -12/5. And you might think, oh my goodness gracious, that is disgusting. But we can deal with this. We're going to take that and plug it in right there and see, does 5 times -12/5 plus 2, does that equal -10? Well, here we go. Let's zoom back in. This 5, yes, we could go straight across, but here's what happens. When this guy is on top of a fraction, the diagonals can reduce each other, can cancel. So they do cancel. So those 5s cancel, leaving us with -12 plus 2. Does that equal -10? Well, -12 plus 2 is -10. So sure, -10 equals -10. So you might not have loved the fact that this was -12/5, but it's correct. 17. We have 2 sides of the equation. On the left, we have this. On the right, we have this. On the right, we cannot simplify. On the left, can we simplify? Well, let's see. Can I multiply -5 and h? No. Can't simplify it. Can I do -1 minus this thing? No. We don't know what h is. So we're ready to solve. And we solve by doing the opposite. This is subtracting. That's true. But we're going to respect the fact that they're multiplying first. So we are actually going to add 1. We're going to move the thing that's over here away from our h. So those cancel, leaving us with negative 5h equals 15. What's happening to the h now? It's being multiplied by negative 5, so we're going to divide by negative 5 on both sides. The 5's cancel, leaving us with h equals negative 3. Let's see if that works. We're going to take it, plug it in right there, so we have negative 1 minus 5 times negative 3. Does that equal 14? I don't know. Let's find out. Going left to right, that negative 1 is nothing's going to happen to it. But right here, that's negative 5 times negative 3. That's positive 15. What's negative 1 plus 15? Well, that's 14. So 14 equals 14. Our answer of negative 3, h is negative 3, is lovely. 20. On the left, we have 6 plus 2n equals 3. Is the left side simplifiable? No. Is 3 simplifiable? Can we simplify it? No. So we're ready to solve. I'm going to subtract 6 first because this is adding, so to speak, to our n, right? And yes, this is multiplying, but like we said over here, we want to, where is it? Like we said over here, we generally want to start with the adding and subtracting, okay? I can show you examples of what happens if we decide to divide by 2. In fact, why not do that on this one? Since I haven't done any like major teaching on this one, let's do that on this one. So let's just solve it the correct way first. Subtract 6. Leaves us with 2n. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. 2 is multiplying n just like it was up here. We're going to divide by 2 because that's the opposite, and we get n equals negative 3 over 2. Does that work? Well, we'll find out because we're going to plug it in right up there. So we have 6 plus 2 times negative 3 over 2 equals 3. Okay, so this guy doesn't really do anything. We can't add him yet because there's multiplying right here. So when we multiply, just like the last one, this is really 2 over 1, and these 2's cancel. So we're left with negative 3. Why is it negative? Because he was negative right there. This plus sign is right there. In fact, here, I'll make it white because it was white above. And, you know, I guess I can't keep all the colors, or I'm not going to keep all the colors. Anyway, this is what we get. And then now this becomes 6 minus 3. You don't even have to really write it down because you might just know, hey, 6 minus 3 is 3. And 3 equals 3 means we were happy to get negative 3 over 2. And look, we're at the end of the day. So when I said that I haven't done like any major teaching, you might have been like, dude, you won't be quiet. But hey, I'm going to go ahead and keep going. What happens if you divide by 2 now? Well, you might think that you could just do that. No, that is not what you do. You actually divide the entire side by 2. Okay? You can't think of it like this. You remember, we think of it as like the seesaw with the puppy. So here's the puppy. It's kind of looks like a, I don't know what the heck that looks like. Anyway, this is our puppy. In fact, maybe I should label it puppy. If we have 2 puppies, you know, plus 6 pounds, and that equals 3 pounds over here, we don't just get to slice everything in half. I mean, if we did, here's, I guess, what it would look like. 2 puppies divided in half would be 1 puppy. 6 pounds divided by half would be 3, and this side would be 3 cut in half, so 3 over 2. Guess what? That's this. If you were to cut that side in half, then you can do it. But you're not allowed to just be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to cut only the puppy in half and then have a 6 there and a 3 there. You can't do that. Okay? So you have to divide the entire side. And if you did that, then yes, you can successfully divide first. But do you want to do that? I don't know if you do. And check this out. Here's the other kind of not super fun, happy part. Right here, we divided by 2 when we were done. Here, we have to subtract 3 subtract 3, and we're left with n equals 3 over 2 minus 3. Great. So we need to make this into a fraction now. That's negative 3 over 1. That turns into, when we multiply it by 2 over 2, turns into negative 6 over 2. And if you're like, why are we doing that? Because now we have to combine these. Negative 3 over 2 minus 6 over 2 would be negative 3 over 2. So, you tell me, which one did you like doing better? Did you like doing this one better or doing this one better? And if you're like, well, this one was annoying because you talked about like this weird puppy on this seesaw. Yeah, I know. But we had to in order to say, listen, that's how you can divide early. You can't just divide however you like. You have to divide the whole thing, okay? So that's day 3. If you're feeling lost, we need to talk. If you're feeling confident, cool. Tell me that too. See you later.